We have all been there, dreading Monday morning or feeling utterly drained after a day at work. It's that feeling, right? That Sunday night pit in your stomach. While every job has its tough moments, some environments can cross the line and become toxic. Toxic workplaces not only affect your productivity, but can also take a toll on your emotional well-being and even your physical health. It seeps into your evenings, your weekends, and suddenly you're just living for that next paycheck. It's a rough cycle. So, the big question is, are you just in a demanding role or is something else going on? But how do you know if your job is simply challenging or genuinely toxic? To help you reflect, we've put together an informative and non-definitive test designed to assess the environment you're working in. Think of it as a little check-in with yourself. We're just going to go through a few questions, and you can keep a mental tally. No pressure, just a moment of honesty to see where you land. It's about gaining a bit of clarity in the professional chaos we all navigate. Okay, before we dive in, a quick but important note. This test is just for fun and informational purposes. It's not professional advice or a diagnosis. Everyone's experience is unique, so if you're dealing with ongoing workplace stress or health issues, please consult a qualified professional. Our legal team thanks you. All right, got your pen and paper or just your brain? Let's do this. All right, first up, let's talk about the people in charge. The ones with the nice offices, or at least the ones who sign off on your expense reports. Management. A good boss can make a tough job great and a bad one, well, you know. So let's start with question 1. Answer yes or no. Do your managers fail to provide clear expectations or direction? You know the feeling. You're given a task, but the goalposts keep moving, or they were never there to begin with. You're basically flying blind, trying to read their mind, and the feedback you get is always about how you didn't do what they never asked for. Next question. Do you feel that leadership frequently ignores feedback or suggestions or presents your ideas as their own? This one's a classic. You spend hours crafting the perfect solution to a problem, you present it in a meeting, and it's met with crickets. Then, a week later, you hear your boss presenting that exact idea to their boss, and suddenly it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're just sitting there, doing the mental math on whether it's worth saying anything. It's that slow burn of feeling completely invisible and unappreciated. Let's keep going. Are issues like favoritism, micromanagement, or a lack of transparency common? Favoritism is that fun game where the rules don't apply to everyone equally. Someone gets all the praise, the best projects, the flexible schedule, while you're stuck with the grunt work. Or maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum with micromanagement, where every single email you write has to be approved, and you feel like you have someone hovering over your shoulder. It's exhausting. And finally, is there lack of transparency? There are whispers, rumors, but no straight answers. It makes you feel like you're not a trusted part of the team, just a cog in a machine that you're not allowed to see the blueprints for. So take a second, how many yes answers did you have for this chapter? Jot it down. Let's move on. Okay, chapter 2. Let's talk about the folks in the trenches with you, your colleagues, your work family as some people call it, sometimes with a straight face. The overall vibe of the office, the culture, can make or break your day-to-day sanity. So, first question for this section. Do you feel there's a consistent lack of respect among colleagues? I'm talking about eye rolls in meetings, sarcastic comments disguised as jokes, or people talking over you. That feeling that you have to constantly be on guard, that basic professional courtesy has left the building. Here's a tough one. Are people bullied into quitting instead of being laid off? This is a subtle but incredibly toxic tactic. Is everyone worried they might be next on the chopping block? This next one is pretty direct. Do you strongly dislike your coworkers? I don't mean the one person who heats up fish in the microwave. I mean, do you genuinely dread interacting with the people around you? Do you find yourself putting on headphones just to create a barrier, avoiding the break room, and counting the seconds until you can leave without having to engage in painful small talk? If you feel like you have to put on a complete personality mask just to survive conversations, that's a big red flag. Is gossip, bullying, or open hostility tolerated, or even encouraged? Do you work in a culture where leaving on time or taking vacation days is frowned upon, and work martyrdom is glorified? It's that environment where the office gossip is the main channel of communication, and everyone seems to be talking behind everyone else's back. And if you dare to leave at 5 p.m., you get the side eye. Because hustle culture means you're supposed to live here. That's not a badge of honor. It's a symptom of a sick system. Tally up your yes answers. Alright, let's get personal. This chapter is about you. Not your performance review, not your project list, but how this job is actually affecting you as a human being. Because honestly, work isn't just a place you go, it's something that can follow you home and get under your skin. So, first question, do you feel physically or emotionally exhausted most days because of your job? This isn't just being tired after a long day. This is that deep, bone-weary exhaustion that doesn't go away after a good night's sleep. It's when your emotional battery is so drained that you have nothing left for your family, your friends, or yourself. Next, let's talk about the mental load. Have you caught yourself experiencing frequent anxiety or stress tied directly to work? Maybe it's a knot in your stomach when you see an email from your boss. Maybe it's replaying a negative interaction over and over in your head long after you've clocked out. When work-related stress becomes your constant companion, it stops being a normal part of a job and starts becoming a serious problem that shadows every part of your life. You're constantly on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. This one goes even deeper. Is your work environment negatively impacting your sleep, relationships, or general health? Are you doom-scrolling work emails in bed at 2 a.m.? Are you snapping at your partner because you're so wound up from a meeting? Maybe you're getting more headaches, your back is always tense, or you're getting sick more often. Our bodies and minds are connected, and when our work environment is constantly pumping stress hormones into our system, our physical health is often the first thing to show the strain. It's a heavy topic, I know, but it's so important to connect these dots. We often compartmentalize, thinking work stress is just work stress, but it doesn't stay in its box, it bleeds into everything. It affects who we are when we're not on the clock. So take a moment, be honest with yourself. How is this job really making you feel physically and emotionally? Add up your yes answers for this section and let's move to the next chapter. So, we've talked about management, coworkers, and your health. Now let's talk about your future, or the potential lack of one at your current company. This chapter is all about growth, recognition, and that little thing called hope. First question. Are opportunities for growth or recognition scarce, even when you exceed expectations? You're hitting all your targets, you're going above and beyond, you're delivering fantastic work, and nothing. No thank you, no great job, and certainly no talk of a promotion or a new challenge. It's like you're shouting into a void. You're putting in the effort, you're proving your value, but the ladder you're supposed to be climbing seems to be missing a few rungs. Or maybe the whole ladder is just a painting on the wall. When there's no clear path forward, motivation can dry up pretty fast. You start to wonder, what's the point of working this hard if no one notices, and it leads nowhere? It's a valid question. It's hard to stay engaged when you feel like you're on a professional treadmill. Which leads us to our next question. Do you feel undervalued or as though your contributions go unnoticed? This is a feeling that eats away at you. It's not just about getting a raise or a new title, it is about feeling seen. It's about knowing that the work you pour your time and energy into matters to the team and the company. When your wins are ignored and your efforts are taken for granted, you start to feel less like a valued team member and more like a disposable resource. It's incredibly demoralizing. And that brings us to the final and perhaps most stressful question of this chapter. Is job security a constant concern for you? Are there constant restructurings, whispers of layoffs, or a general feeling of instability? When you're always worried about whether you'll have a job next month, it's impossible to focus on doing your best work or planning for the future. You're in survival mode, not growth mode. That constant uncertainty is a heavy weight to carry every single day. So think about it. Is your career growing or is it stagnating? Count up your yes answers. Okay, last chapter. And this one is about the fundamentals. It's hard to do a good job if you're not set up for success. It's like being asked to build a house with nothing but a spoon. So let's talk about the tools of the trade. First question. Are you not provided with proper training or support? You're hired for a role and on day one you're basically thrown into the deep end with a quick good luck. There's no real onboarding, no one to show you the ropes, and you're left to figure out complex systems and processes all on your own. You end up spending more time trying to understand to do your job than actually doing it. And when you ask for help, you're met with annoyance or told to be a self-starter. A lack of training isn't just frustrating, it sets you up to fail. It's a sign that the company is more interested in filling a seat than in investing in the person sitting in it. It's a surefire way to feel incompetent and overwhelmed even when you're perfectly capable. Next question. Do you often find yourself struggling to complete tasks because you lack the necessary tools or resources? Or maybe you need access to certain data or a budget for a project, and getting approval is an impossible bureaucratic nightmare. You know you could do the job faster and better if you just had what you needed. Is outdated technology or inefficient processes making your work more difficult than it needs to be? You're forced to use clunky, slow systems that create unnecessary workarounds and headaches. Simple tasks become multi-step ordeals. It's not just inefficient, it's deeply frustrating. It feels like the company doesn't value your time. And finally, do you feel your potential is being hindered because you aren't properly supported? You know you have more to offer, but you're constantly held back by these limitations. It's a ceiling you can't break through. Okay, that's the last one. Tally up your final yes answers. Okay, you did it. You went through the questions. Now, let's add up all those yes answers and see what the unofficial tally says. If you answered yes to 1 to 3 questions, you've got a great job, maybe even a dream job. Hold on to that. If you have 4 to 6 yes answers, you've got a decent job, but there's plenty of room for improvement. Maybe a few key conversations could make a big difference. If you landed in the 7 to 10 yes answers range, your work environment shows several elements of toxicity. It may be helpful to identify which issues impact you most and consider discussing them with a trusted manager or HR professional. And if you have 11 or more yes answers, it's time to seriously evaluate whether this job is serving your well-being and career goals. Now, if you scored high on that little test, I know it can feel overwhelming. But please hear this, while dealing with a toxic workplace is tough, it's important to approach the situation carefully. Take time to plan your next steps, seek advice from trusted mentors or career coaches, and consider speaking with a mental health professional to help you navigate the challenges. Remember, change takes preparation. It's essential to ensure financial stability and have a clear plan before making any big decisions. Better opportunities are out there, but don't forget to prioritize your responsibilities as you work toward a healthier environment. Your well-being is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Recognizing that your environment is unhealthy is the first and most important step toward finding a place where you can truly thrive. You deserve to work in a place that respects you, supports you, and helps you grow. Thanks for taking this time for yourself today. Don't forget to like or share with someone you know. The Best Way to Hired by Neil Jim Search Group, where we teach you how to job hunt or find talent like a professional recruiter.